Welcome back everyone to the channel. Today's video we're going to be talking about why I bought the CLA45 AMG over any other cars in the class, which is the RS3, M2, those types of cars. I'm going to be explaining exactly why I chose this car over those cars. The things that I'm going to be talking about today are things that I really do enjoy about this car, but I'm not going to go in too depth because I'm going to save the depth of actual information for the owner's review that's coming very soon. But anyways, let's get straight into the video and talk about why I bought the CLA45 AMG. First things first, I think it's appropriate to start talking about the exterior of the car while we're outside. I mean, this car looks so aggressive, especially with this new wrap. The satin black wrap just changed the look of the car completely. But even before with the white, this car looked very aggressive, and I mean, just look at it. The front Panamericana grille looks amazing on this car. The canards on the side, that's pretty sweet. But overall, the look of this car is just amazing. The one thing that does fall short is the slope line for the coupe, but I'll be explaining what I like, what I don't like on the owner's review. But for now, this is one of the main reasons why I chose this car was the looks. The RS3 looks amazing too, but it is a little outdated. This is a brand new model. I thought, you know what? Let me get something that's brand new. It won't be outdated for a few years. The RS3 is due for an update, so the exterior on this is going to be fairly new for a few years. And then also the M2. The M2 is a great looking car, but I think this looks more aggressive than both of those cars, and is one of the main reasons why I chose this car. So the other thing I like about this car is the interior. This is the brand new Mercedes MBUX interior for most of their cars, like the A-Class, CLA class, like this car, GLB, GLC, all these other cars. But essentially this is the brand new MBUX system. I call it the MBUX, but it's MBUX. But you can see it has two big digital screens. The interior is newly updated, the new touchpad controller right there, the new steering wheel, which does have the AMG performance dials and buttons on the steering wheel, which is really cool. You have Alcantara here, Alcantara on the seats. These are the old seats. They are comfortable. I'll be explaining that in future videos. Overall, the interior does look like a $70,000 car interior. Depending on how you spec these cars, it can, range in prices. The M2 and the RS3, which do catch up in price with this car, the interior is not anywhere near the same. You have to think about, do you want performance or do you want luxury? I think this car offers both, which is why I enjoy it. I'm just going to turn on the car real quick, just so you guys can see the sweet LED system that they have. So there's LEDs in here, LEDs up here, and there's even LEDs in the headrest. I don't know if the camera can catch that. When you step inside the car, you know that you did get your money's worth. Unlike the RS3 and M2, this car does have electric seats and memory seating. I know for a fact the RS3 only has power seats on the driver's side. I think maybe not even on the driver's side, definitely not on the passenger side. This has all power seats, both seats. The M2 also is a very lackluster luxury car, but in terms of performance and modding, the M2 and RS3 are a lot better. Now, like I said, it's definitely about what you prefer in terms of your preferences and what you want out of a car. The RS3 and M2 are very highly performance cars. I love the RS3. I think the M2 is also a great car, but in terms of needs and what I wanted out of a daily driver, this car checked all the boxes, and this is why I chose this car. I'm not saying the M2 or RS3 are bad cars, because they are great in their own ways. If the RS3 was the 2022-2023 version that is coming out very soon, I probably would have chose that over this, but for now, I have the CLA45 AMG. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of the CLA45 in terms of the interior and exterior. It's one of the two main reasons why I chose this car. The other thing that was a good selling point about this car was that this is a 4MATIC Plus car, so it does have the performance of a rear-wheel drive car. In icy conditions and snowy conditions, this thing can switch up to all-wheel drive. I live in Northwest PA. We get a lot of snow, and I'm sure you guys have seen my C63S videos of running that in the snow. In terms of being able to be 100% secure, I think it was a smart move to get an all-wheel drive car. The RS3 is an all-wheel drive. It's performance oriented just like this. The M2 obviously is rear-wheel drive. Rear-wheel drive car is not impossible to drive in the winter. I wanted a daily driver with all-wheel drive, and I mean, like I said before, this car pretty much ticked all the boxes versus the RS3 and M2. I came from a C63S, so being able to get back into an AMG was one of the main things on top of my head. So let's talk about the Amg Dynamics of this car. So this is one of the few cars in America that has the Amg Dynamics package, which features the big red caliper brakes. These are the bigger brakes than the normal CLA45. And then in the rear, you also have red, which I think looks amazing and is the pure look of an AMG AMG other than the carbon ceramics that you would find on the higher end AMGs. Overall, this car does have the AMG look, especially with the satin black wrap, and you can even see the hood lines right here from the GT63. It's essentially the same front end. Obviously, the GT63 is a much better car than this. I just really like how they made it look like an upper class AMG without having to pay the full price of that. The other thing about this car is the engine. So this is still a hand-built engine, which is the brand new AMG 4-cylinder 2-liter made by Pascal Douin, I think it says. The one thing that I wanted was a hand-built engine just like my C63S, which the RS3 and M2 do not offer. I know you might be thinking like, oh well, that's just being dumb, or it's just a fake thing, like it's not really that meaningful. To me, it is meaningful to be able to have one person work on this beautiful engine, and you can see the carbon intake from Armor Speed looks amazing in this car. Overall, I was like, you know what, next car, I do want a hand-built engine still. I'm not going to be going too in-depth about this engine until the owner's review, obviously. Being able to have a hand-built engine and still be around $70,000 is just amazing. So one thing I did want to note before I sign off the video, this car does have a very quick 0 to 60. 0 to 60 in about 4 seconds. If this thing gets tuned to the S amount of horsepower, I would say this is probably on par with the C63S, because the C63S was around 3.8 seconds of 2020. So this is a 2020 CLA45, 4 less cylinders, and it runs about 0.2 seconds less quicker than the C63S. I think that's really impressive, being able to push that out of this car. You know, my last car, I tried doing 0 to 60s and I really only got like 4 to 4.2, which really matters about the tires and conditions. Performance wise, this car is pretty matched up with the C63S. All right, so you're probably wondering why I'm not in the same clothes and I'm not in the same location as I was just shooting. Well, it's because knowing me, I forgot to film an outro, so that's what I'm doing right now on a different day, but it's all right. We're here. We're gonna film the outro. But basically what I wanted to say, wrapping up the video on why I chose the CLA45 over the M2 and the RS3 and the cars that are like in that realm. The M2 and the RS3 are probably my favorite performance cars in this category. I do love them a lot, and the reason why I chose the CLA45 over them might be different for everyone else, so don't take it as the M2 and the RS3 are not good cars, because they really are amazing cars for what they are. CLA45 fit my needs and wants, and that's why I chose it over those two cars. That's pretty much it. Those are the good reasons why I chose this car over those other two cars. If you did enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, because there's going to be another video on why the CLA45 is the perfect first AMG coming next week. So be on the lookout for that, and I'll see you guys on the next video.